think there are lots of opportunities, but we all need to collectively put our heads together to try to make them happen. And I think that's something that we're working on.
Ms. Nilekani, in your work, you focus a lot on non-market enablers. What are non-market enablers, and how are they critical in what we're talking about?
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you to the Honorable Chief Minister for inviting me here. Yeah, my whole theory is that markets and the state, all the people who come from the markets and the state come from society, the samaj. So the more you strengthen samaj, the better the crop of people that join the market and the state. So all my work over the last 35 years has been to strengthen the institutions and the moral leadership of the samaj and to enable samaj to have its own potential amplified with dignity. So I would say in this case that it's a wonderful idea to have every family feeling secure to explore the tremendous entrepreneurial energy that exists in Andhra Pradesh, for example. So to me, this is a real opportunity to strengthen samaj through this program also. Because when you have a strong samaj, sir, what the sarkar needs to do then is to just unleash that entrepreneurial energy which exists by reducing unnecessary risk. Our people are ready to take risks. They have huge risk appetite, especially our poor people. But they have to take unnecessary risk because there's not safety. For example, for women, there's a social distance between her and the state. So how do you enable safety, public infrastructure, so that she can be the real entrepreneur that she wants to be? To me, there's huge opportunity in another way. You have 1,500 kilometers of coastline. You have forests. You have the Deccan Plateau. There is huge opportunity, maybe especially for women, I hope, to become environmental stewards while improving their economic livelihoods. And I think these are the new opportunities that are going to come because the ecology is at the absolute base of the economy, and the more we can enrich and sustain our ecology, the more opportunities, especially for grassroots entrepreneurs, to be able to find new pathways, especially enabled by technology. As you know, at XF Foundation, some of our teams are working on, for example, through the digital public infrastructure, enhancing it with skills, through ONDC, Open Networks for Digital Commerce, enabling entrepreneurs to discover opportunities. We have a new thing called Blue Dot. You know, like the blue dot on where you are locating, say, an Uber driver. So that idea transformed for one family, one entrepreneur will look like this, that a woman with a skill or any entrepreneur with a skill or a product has to be found. And so he or she becomes a blue dot on a platform and is able to advertise, I am here. You can find me, and this is what I can offer you. So we have started some work on this. In addition, with the Chief Minister's office, our teams are also working on personal tutoring at a high level with IIT Madras, because you need a different kind of skill set, and maybe, I don't know, Nigel will talk to what's happening in AI. What is the future of jobs? What is the future of entrepreneurship? It's going to be uncertain. We need to teach our young people to learn how to learn how to develop new skills as the complex world changes. That's what we are trying to do, sir, with your government. I hope it will happen soon. But these were some of the ideas. Continuous lifelong training, because the world is changing too fast and the future of jobs and entrepreneurship is changing. We have to let people change with that. Continuous thinking through our natural capital and how we can use that to create economic livelihoods, and looking at women, especially women, how can we reduce the distance between the woman, the state and the market. Thank you.
I love the blue dot and your mention of it, because it reminds me about the red dot on our NDTV logo. Yeah. The red dot, which we've had forever, is a bindi, and it symbolizes empowerment, which has been the core of it's essentially the same as what you are talking about. Mr. Andrea, you know, it's all very well to talk about grassroots level growth, but there has to be an ecosystem that exists alongside: infrastructure development, structural architecture, supply chains, access to markets. So the ideas we have are great, but if I was to be a cynic, I would say that, you know, how does one actually get this done? Who's going to pay for it? What are the supply chains that are required? So in as much as we have ideas, what about the back-end architecture?
Yeah, thank you. And Honorable Chief Minister, thank you very much, both for inviting us here, but also for the vision you're sharing. I'm very excited by this idea because as I was sharing this idea with my colleagues around the world, they got excited too, and they said, look, if this works, it's a model not just for other Indian states, it's a model for the world, right? So I think it's excellent, and let's talk about what could go wrong. So what I wanted to share was, I'll be a bit provocative. The word entrepreneurship can lead people to think about risk-taking, can conjure up images of Silicon Valley. But really what I think we are talking about here is how do we create enabled financial independence, enabled entrepreneurship. And I think it's extremely important. I'll give you an example. So I was born and brought up in India, then I moved to Singapore, and then I live in Sydney right now. And if I look at the way in which the Singaporean government has approached innovation versus the way in which the Sydney government, Australian government's approached innovation, the Australian government said, we have $1 billion, does anybody have a good idea? What the Singaporean government said was, we have these 5 problems. I have $1 billion to spend on them. Does anybody have solutions for these problems? See, now this is a very important distinction. It is how do we build a system from demand side rather than supply side. Yes, we all want to train the people, we want to lower the barriers for setting up a company. All of that is absolutely right. But the last thing you want to do is create overcapacity at that scale. The last thing you want to do is have people build stuff where they can't find customers. So I would almost say that the opportunity for Andhra Pradesh is to say, which opportunity sets do we want to create value systems around, and how are we going to enable those value systems in the form of shared manufacturing facilities, distribution platforms, anchor clients, pre-approved credit lines for this type of business. I'll just end with one other example. So everybody knows Grameen and how successful it's been. Most people don't know it's not been successful in every market. And if I look at Grameen in most developed markets, Grameen Bank was launched in Australia. It had to wind down. It did not succeed. Why? Because in developed markets, people know I need to get a goat, I need to get a cow, and then once I get a goat or cow, I join a cooperative and I know how so their business model is clear to them. In Australia, they were giving funding without a clear business model. People didn't know what to do with it. So again, if you start demand back and you start saying these are the opportunities that we want to own and create the systems that people can then step into, I think that's a far more powerful way to what we're calling one family, one entrepreneur, what I'm reading as one family, every family financial independence. And I think it's a really powerful idea and one which can be a role model for the world.
Mr. Naidu, how will you implement all of these ideas, assuming you accept all of them?
First of all, I'm requesting all of them be partners with us. That is first step. So that continuous dialogue, their strengths, their organization skills, everything we can imbibe here. As a matter of fact, as you rightly mentioned, different views you expressed. Long back around 1995, when I started IT, our madam is aware, Infosys, all these things. Nilkani has given a big gift for India, that is Aadhaar, UAID. That is the biggest contribution from him. That is a game changer even today. At the time I promoted IT, there is no clue. All over the world I went. Finally, I brought IT companies. I started engineering colleges. Then I promoted step-by-step ecosystem. Ultimately, they migrated from Andhra Pradesh to different countries. Now 195 countries, every country there are Telugu community. How many years? Only 25 years. What is the per capita income? Highest per capita income in any country. America, if you go, highest per capita income, only these people. Even Ireland, even Netherlands, even Germany, Japan, everywhere they have spreaded now. At that time, I used to do one more experiment. I used to take entrepreneurs and prospective entrepreneurs, not with my cost. I used to take everybody along with me, one get together, local entrepreneurs of the place, my entrepreneurs. Then I used to give my presentation, this is my vision, all these things. Then I used to network our entrepreneurs with other entrepreneurs. That is where inspiration. Over a period of time, all entrepreneurs of Andhra Pradesh has become very strong entrepreneurs. Talking each other, sometimes technology or otherwise knowing each other, collaborating, so many things happen. That is where second generation entrepreneurs are very strong from Andhra Pradesh, Telugu states, not other states. As he rightly mentioned, Sinha, somebody has to take lead. Then only it will be tested, you are successful or failure. You are not taking any risk. How can you be successful? Now that is where India is moving very fast now. I wanted to go for inclusive society. Growth story should be inclusive. Financial independence you call, or otherwise one family, one entrepreneur. Just now I asked our IBM and everybody to train AI. They are having a plan of 5 million. I am asking them to train 1 million plus in Andhra Pradesh. Mega scale. Here I request you one thing, all of you. Industry, service, agriculture, everything is going on. But value addition is missing. Product perfection is missing. How to bring all these activities in structured way, organized way, that is MSME, one family, one entrepreneur.
No, in fact, sir, that sort of moves right into my next question. Value addition is missing. How do we define value addition? In fact, Sonia, that was my next question for you, because how does Salesforce measure and define metrics which actually look at business resilience and long-term viability? What's working and what's not? How do you do that?
Yeah, thank you. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is a journey we've been on for a long time. Our philanthropy has been focused on education, and this conversation is really resonating with me because over the last 2 years, we've been thinking about reskilling and upskilling and how do we have to transform our own workforce at Salesforce, but how do we help others do that? And so this idea of AI fluency, and if you Google Salesforce AI fluency, we just put out some thought leadership around what does that look like. And so I think that helps to kind of define some of the metrics of, how do you know when you've arrived? And I very much agree with my colleagues. It's a lifelong learning journey. The other thing that comes to mind is true kind of classic definition of environmental sustainability. So for us, when we think about things like regenerative agriculture, or decarbonization, or clean energy transition, we do a significant amount of tracking on our own software of carbon emissions, clean energy produced, additional clean energy to the grid, fresh water conserved or regenerated. So I think the good news is most tech companies are becoming much more sophisticated, and so are our investors, maybe most importantly, and our customers, in thinking about not only what are you delivering us from a technological outcomes perspective, but who's the company behind that and what are your practices, and really choosing to partner with companies and enterprises that are investing across the whole value chain from sustainability, inclusive growth, human rights. So we're pleased to be on that journey, and I'm so excited to see some of the largest companies in the world, folks who are here like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, etc. Some of our hyperscalers that we're so heavily reliant on for this digital age.